Grand Rising, Grand Rising, Grand Rising. This is Amanda Sapp here on Amazing 102.5 FM, your do good through good station where we're changing lives one listener at a time. I am super excited about the guests that I get a chance to bring to you guys this morning. And before I do that, are you there, madam?
I'm here. Good morning.
Grand rising to you. And listen, we're so glad to have you on the airways with us today. And for a good reason. You're talking about an upcoming event that's happening on April 5th with Rothko Chapel. Before we get started, I just want to share that you are the program director at the Rothko Chapel, which is a sacred art space located in Houston's Montrose neighborhood, promoting creativity, spirituality, and justice. And you would consider yourself a curator, an organizer, and a director. Again, we welcome you to the Amanda Sapp Morning Show this morning.
Thank you very much for having me. I'm looking forward to sharing more about the Rothko Chapel as well as about this event.
Absolutely. Now, there's someone here who they just heard what I said, but they've never been to the Rothko Chapel, never heard about it. Would you mind sharing a little bit more with us this morning?
Absolutely. We're a little bit of a hidden gem in the city. So we were founded in 1971. We're a little over 50 years old. And as you mentioned, we're a space that's dedicated to the intersection of creativity, spirituality, and justice. The space is a full work of art from the architecture to the paintings inside. There are 14 large-scale purple paintings that were created by American artist Mark Rothko in the 60s. And they are abstract works, and they're meant to really inspire visitors into a contemplative, meditative mode, which is where the spirituality comes from. And so we're open every day for visitation, prayer, meditation, as well as we have a robust series of public programs. We do all kinds of things, including concerts, lectures, guided meditations, and family-friendly programs like I'll share in just a bit.
Kelly, if you don't mind me asking, as the program director there, how do you feel that you were able to resonate with Rothko Chapel?
Absolutely. That's a great question. It really combines my personal passions all together. It's a very unique space in bringing together art, spirit, and justice. There are, very few places like that. In my own journey as a curator, an artist, and an art lover, I feel it's very important to have spaces that, bring the creativity out in people, that talk about these kind of bigger forces in our lives, things that bring us meaning, purpose, and connection. So I'm really, it's such a pleasure to be able to work in this space, and it's a great way to learn new things every day, meet interesting people from all walks of life. I love it.
I'd love to hear that. Can you share the inspiration behind the upcoming April 5th program featuring an art class inspired by Frida Kahlo? And how do you envision it enhancing visitors' experience at the Rothko Chapel?
Yeah, so this program is part of a larger neighborhood community day, which so we're in a neighborhood that also hosts the Manil Collection, Houston Center for Photography, Decamera, and WITS Houston, Writers in the Schools. So this program happens annually. It features the talents and spaces of these different arts organizations just within a few blocks of one another. And what we like to do for this event is it's on Saturday, April 5th. The performance is at 1 p.m. We like to really offer opportunities for families to come together and see this intersecting mission of creativity, spirituality, and justice. So the performance will be, we commissioned it by Express Children's Theater, who specializes in interactive performances, bringing theater arts to children in schools, libraries, and other organizations. I was talking with the executive director, and we were thinking about what could be really interesting to highlight in the space of the Rothko Chapel, which is a unique art space, of course. And we thought, what if a historic artist kind of experiences this magic time travel into the chapel, and discovers the chapel alongside the audience, as well as leads children and families in an art class. So we love the idea of bringing Mexican artist Frida Kahlo, who's beloved by many across the globe, to have this magic time traveling moment into the chapel where she had never been before, and kind of look at and interpret space along with the audience. And then she's going to lead folks in a self-portrait class. She was really famous for her own self-portraits. So we thought it'd be a great opportunity to explore that together.
As you're describing what this experience is going to be like, the first thing I think about is what we mentioned before as you being a curator and an artist and things like that. I can only imagine this must be a dream to you to develop and create such a space for people who may never experienced something like this before. Could you touch on that just a little bit?
Yeah, it's a the chapel does many other programs. Again, at this intersection, which some can be, let's say very serious in manner, or right, maybe more encouraging, like this interiority of meditation and contemplation, so they can be very quiet. We also like to do things that are very fun and exploratory and engage folks in their curiosity. I love to be able to do that in all the many projects that I'm involved in. I think it's really important to be able to help people get engaged and to be open to new ideas, in a fun, bringing fun and openness to an experience and event. So yeah, I mean, it's been Tim Fried Fiore is the executive director. He's the one who wrote this interactive performance, and he's been a joy to work with. We've been talking about a lot of the benefits of theater and performance, and how it can just open up people to new ideas and new experiences.
I love that. Thank you for sharing that with us. Now, the Rothko Chapel has always been a place for reflection and creativity. How does the programming, such as the Frida Kahlo art class, align with the chapel's mission of inspiring connection, spirituality, and dialogue? And also, I understand that you also bringing in some family-friendly events as well. That I'd love for you to share with us also.
Yeah, absolutely. So, speaking specifically about this program coming up on April 5th, Frida, as an artist, if, folks are familiar with her, she, I think, was an artist who was very much at this intersection of, living a very creative life in all ways, not just in her art, but also, in how she dressed, in, her home, if folks have ever been there in Mexico City. As well as, right, she's a very spiritual person. I mean, you can tell in her paintings and the way that she addresses these larger themes of connectivity, of finding the divine, and kind of there's a painting that I'm thinking of, I can't remember the name of, but where she has all these imageries of like her experience from birth to death. And then she was also very committed to justice. Her mother was indigenous to Mexico, and she always brought that perspective and personal identity to the forefront of her work, and advocated for indigenous rights, as well as she was a communist, which is a whole nother story. But right, thinking about economic equality. So I think that's, in a nutshell, she's like the perfect kind of representative to come to us as an artist. And I'll also mention we have 2 other programs coming up this spring. On April 22nd, we are observing Earth Day alongside, folks around the world. And we're particularly interested in the connections between environment and health. And so we are very excited to have student spoken word performers coming from WIT's Metaphor Houston Slam team. They're actually just being formed within the next week, and they'll be sharing original spoken word poetry on connections between the environment and health. And then on May 3rd, which is also a Saturday, we will be doing a guided meditation for families specifically for those with children pre-K to third grade, with aligned mind. So we'll be having the meditation will include breath work, a few yoga poses, as well as drawings about what our thoughts are around peace and what can make peace in our world. So that's kind of a little, sample of what we have coming up that illustrates our mission there, and should all be really fun, fantastic programs.
We have a question of the day that we asked earlier, and I'd love to ask you just to get your thoughts. But is spiritual connection more meaningful when it's personal rather than institutional?
Very interesting question. So right now we are currently engaged in a strategic plan for a new Institute for Spirituality and Social Justice, to be piloted by the chapel, where the idea is that spirituality is a very individual experience, but also I think can be even more powerful when brought together by through community, and in a communal way. So one of our goals with this new institute is to be able to bring together people from different faith and spiritual backgrounds or perspectives, and to help find, our shared values across difference, and to be able to build a larger community, then to kind of take that individual spiritual experience, fold it into a larger, group relationship, and then be able to do good and important work out in the city and beyond. So I think, there's value in both, but I think really when they come together, that's when it's the strongest and most effective.
That's actually a great answer.
Thank
Very
you.
well put. We've been debating all day which is more, which is better, which is the most meaningful, which is most impactful. I think you summed it up for us, really, truly. Kelly Johnson, she is the program director at Rothko Chapel, and they've got a couple of events that you definitely want to tap into. Kelly, what type of person should come and visit the Rothko Chapel?
Yes, well, everyone should come visit, especially if you haven't been to the Rothko Chapel before. It's a place unlike any other. And I will say too that, it's a rainy day today. So if you have been before, come back and see us. It's different every time you come, in part because it's lit by a skylight. So it's lit all by natural light, which means that depending on the weather, the season, it's different. So there's every time is a unique visit. I will say, folks who are interested in art, folks who are spiritually curious, folks who are interested in learning about other spiritual experiences, and folks who are committed to and curious about doing justice work in their communities. We're a great learning space, as well as a great space to meet other like-minded folks. So everyone, come on down. We've got something for you, and we hope to see you soon.
Wonderful. Now, we like to leave our fans, followers, listeners, and supporters with something inspiring, something empowering, something they can take with them the rest of the day, the rest of the week, and all the way up to the weekend. Kelly Johnson, Program Director at Rothko Chapel. What would you like to leave us with today?
I'd like to leave you with today that you have everything in you. You are full of creativity. You are full of divine light, and you are full of power and capacity to change whatever you would like to see in the world. And yeah, I wish you hope amidst, all these troubling times, but know that you have it in you to keep on going and to make it happen.
Thank you so much. And how do we find you?
So you can visit the Rothko Chapel. Our website is at rothkochapel.org. We're also on Instagram and Facebook. So follow us and learn what we have coming up there.
Kelly, thank you so much for being our guest today here on the Amanda Sapp Morning Show. You truly are a curator, an organizer, and a director. We appreciate your time, your talent, and all that you're doing here in community. And thanks for being our guest.
Thank you so much, Amanda.
Absolutely. Hey guys, look, stay tapped in, stay tuned in, stay amazing. We'll be back.